Bro, let's be honest for a second. Most men don't actually fear intimacy itself. What really gets to them is that one brutal moment when you make your move and everything suddenly shifts. She pulls back, the energy drops, and you're left standing there feeling completely off. But here's the truth: this doesn't have to keep happening. What if you could guide things toward intimacy in a way that feels natural, effortless, and pressure free, where the decision comes from her? Not from anything forced. No gimmicks, no scripted lines, just real psychological understanding. And today, that's exactly what you're getting. Stay focused, because what you're about to learn is something most men never truly grasp. Here's where most guys get it wrong: women don't reject intimacy itself, they reject the feeling attached to it. Read that again. If the emotional experience around you feels tense, rushed, or needy, the answer will almost always be no. But if it feels smooth, safe, and exciting, she won't just accept it, she'll naturally move toward it. That's the game. And once that clicks, everything changes. Now let's break down the psychology, because this is where things get real. Every guy who's ever been rejected in this area usually made at least one key mistake. He moved too fast, asked too directly, carried nervous energy, or skipped building emotional tension altogether. Here's the raw truth: intimacy isn't decided logically, it's emotional. The moment she feels safe, understood, and desired, without pressure, that's when things open up naturally. Think about it like this: you're casually browsing in a store, enjoying the experience, and suddenly a pushy salesperson interrupts you. What do? You leave, even if you were considering buying. Same principle applies here. The moment a man turns it into a direct transaction, do you want to come back to my place? The dynamic shifts, and transactions kill attraction. But when you create an emotional invitation instead, you're not speaking to her logic. You're connecting with something deeper. That's where real desire lives. Now, here's something most people never explain clearly. Before a woman moves toward intimacy, three internal switches need to turn on. First, safety. Not long term familiarity, but emotional safety. She needs to feel like she won't be judged, rushed, or put in an uncomfortable position. This comes from your presence, being calm, grounded, and steady. Second, trust. And trust isn't built through words, it's built through consistency. If you say you're not rushing things and actually mean it through your actions, that's what builds a solid foundation. Third, anticipation. This is the hidden driver. It's that subtle tension between what is happening and what could happen. It doesn't come from being aggressive, it comes from restraint, from letting moments breathe. Most guys focus on being funny or impressive, which helps. But without these three elements, nothing really sticks. Now, here's a smooth shift you can make. Instead of leaning in and increasing pressure, you slightly lean back. Not in a cold way, just relaxed, like you're completely fine either way. What happens? Pressure disappears, and in that space, her curiosity and desire starts to grow. Picture this: you're sitting close, the vibe is strong, conversation is flowing. Most guys push forward at this point. They close the gap too quickly, and she pulls away. Not because she's not interested, but because it suddenly feels like pressure. Now flip it. Same moment, same chemistry, but you pause. You ease back slightly. You give the moment space. Now she starts thinking, wait, why did he pull back? And without realizing it, she begins to move closer herself. That's not a trick, that's emotional awareness in action. Now let's go deeper. Instead of asking for anything directly, you say things that make her feel and reflect. For example, I really like the energy between us. You're surprisingly easy to be around. There's something about this that just feels natural. Notice, there's no request there, no pressure, but each statement reinforces what she's already feeling. This taps into something powerful. When you put her unspoken feelings into words, she feels understood, and that alignment creates attraction on a deeper level. There's also something called priming. When you use words like connection, closeness, and comfort, you subtly shape how she experiences the moment. You're not forcing anything, you're guiding awareness. Now, this next shift is crucial. If you ask for a yes, you risk getting a no. But if you ask about a feeling, you invite honesty. Instead of, do you want to? Try, does this feel too fast for you? Do you feel comfortable right now? See the difference? You're not asking her to accept or reject. You're inviting her to check in with herself. And here's the best part. If she says, maybe a little, that's not rejection. That's feedback. You respond calmly. That's completely fine. I'm not rushing anything. I'm just enjoying being here with you. Now she feels heard, respected, safe, and in most cases, once that pressure is gone, she naturally leans back in. Here's something almost no one talks about. A woman doesn't decide based on how much you want her. She decides based on how balanced your desire feels. Too much intensity feels like pressure, too little feels like disinterest. But balanced energy, that's where attraction lives. So when she leans in, you meet her there. When she holds eye contact, you return it. When she shows warmth, you match it. That creates a rhythm, a back and forth flow where things build naturally without force. This is called mirroring. It's deeply rooted in human behavior. And when done right, it creates a connection that goes beyond words. Now, here's your final move, and it's simple. Instead of asking for anything, you acknowledge the moment itself. This feels really good. It's kind of crazy how comfortable this feels. I like your energy. It's calm. What you're doing here is shifting the focus away from wanting something and placing it on the shared experience. Now, it's not about you pursuing her, it's about both of you experiencing something together. And that's where real intimacy begins. No pressure, no awkwardness, no forced steps, just two people naturally moving towards something that already feels right.